What is up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Brevity Sports, YouTube edition. Big Z, say hi to the people.
What's up, people? Happy December. As you see, it is holiday spirit, Christmas time in my household. It is flowing through my veins. I got my Christmas sweater on. I got a couple of trees in my house. I am as excited as a little kid. I love Christmas times. How you been, man? How are
I
you?
I I need to ask you a question
I'm
before we move
trying. I'm
on.
trying to push it through the camera to you right now.
I need to ask you a question before we move on. I want to know, how do you fit all the Christmas movies that you need to watch? Like, because I've been watching Christmas movies for like 3 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
how do you fit those in? Like, how do you fit all the movies?
So we started last weekend. So
Okay.
I started like with the claymations, like with
Yeah.
Oliver. And then after he went to bed, Haley brought out a list. She was like, okay, let's make a bucket list of
Yep.
like all the movies we need to watch throughout the next 4 weeks.
Yep.
And so I think, if we average like three a week, we'll be good.
Yeah.
There's this new one she wants. It's kind of like a Hallmark one. I told her this year, it's like we have to watch like a silly, just really cheesy movie that no one knows of. And it's on Netflix and it's called Frosty, something
Hot
Frosty,
Frosty.
Hot Frosty.
Dude, such a cute
Yes.
movie. Watched
Yeah.
it two
So
weeks ago. It is
yeah.
hilarious because it's bad. Like you can't. That's
Yeah.
the thing
It's
about these
bad.
movies. Like
Right. That's
anyone
the
out
point.
there who's like, you can't watch these movies. Like, don't watch them to be good, and then you'll enjoy it. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's the best part. Like it's funny because you
Yeah.
you go into it knowing it is going to be super just trash, cheesy,
Oh yeah.
like cringy, but you're gonna enjoy it. Like there's gonna be a
Yep.
part of you like kind of like, oh. And so
Right.
we're gonna watch that probably tomorrow night or Saturday night, one of those
Right.
nights.
Watch
Um,
if
yeah.
if you're into that stuff. Watch Falling for Christmas. It was the first
Okay.
Lindsay Lohan one. The new one's actually pretty good too, but
Nice.
it's the first Lindsay Lohan one that was done, and it is like classic, like big city girl, super rich, like
Right.
stumbles into this, like the classic story, super predictable, but it is so cute. As long as you have, like, we go into these Christmas movies, just like, I just want Christmas,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
that was
No
one of my,
expectation. That's the only
right.
expectation.
So
Yes.
the new Lindsay Lohan movie that came out, I don't even know the name of it. It was the newer one that just came out this year, 2024. The thing I didn't like about it was that I didn't feel there was enough Christmas. Like they were there for Christmas, but there wasn't
Okay.
enough Christmas. In the
Yes, I
2022
see.
one, like it was a Christmas town, it was Christmas events, and the whole thing led up to Christmas Eve. Like that's what I want in my Christmas movies. Like
Yeah,
I don't care if you're bad, but I want Christmas. It's got to feel like
exactly.
Christmas
Yep.
the entire movie, and I'm happy. But like
Yep.
also we're freaks. Like we watch Klaus at least once a week. The Netflix
Plus,
cartoon. We
you,
watch Elf multiple times. we we're all
you
in, dude.
know, you know what makes me mad is like when you're watching a show like The Office or Friends
Right?
or whatever, and you like when it's around that Christmas time, like like this how the season progresses, and it's like that it's winter.
Right.
Sometimes they skip out on the Christmas episode. Like it will just be a New Year's episode, or they'll only have a Thanksgiving episode. And that always makes me mad because when they have those Christmas episodes in it, it's so good because it's Christmas, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes they skip out on it and it really pisses me off. Like I was watching How I Met Your Mother the other week, and it's on Netflix again. And they skipped out on Christmas for that season. Like the
Yep.
prior season, I think in season two, I was watching, they had a Christmas episode, but the next season they didn't. And I was like, what are you
Oh,
doing?
how dare you?
So like that stuff just, it makes me mad. It pisses me
Especially
off.
especially in the office, like when they did have Christmas
Oh,
episodes, it was like
such
iconic.
good episodes.
Like
Such good
Benihana
episodes.
Christmas. Are you
Yes.
kidding me? Like
Oh
the
my
fa- the
gosh.
the fancy one when Holly comes back. Like as part one and two. Like there's two
Right.
parts of Christmas.
Dwight's Christmas, like when
Yes.
he gets to
Oh,
plan Christmas. Oh my gosh.
so good. I wish that I had a bit more Christmas spirit. So you're in the Christmas swing. I am still in baseball. My son wrote this. You can't read it on YouTube. It says Grayson's tournament. He wrote this. He is 8.
He's
So,
ready.
and for an 8-year old, I wish I could tell you that he's a prodigy and he has the cleanest handwriting of all time. As you can see, it's not the case. It's on the 14th and the 15th. He's very excited.
He's pumped,
Um,
bro. He's
he's
pumped.
he's so excited. So I'm still a full baseball swing. I've been at the fields. Fall ball finally ended, and I've been at the fields. I think I think every day but one this week. Within the last
Wow.
7 days, It has been we've demoed the field. So Brightview went up there, our landscaping company, they demoed part of it. But they didn't level anything out. They didn't even come close to it.
Wow.
So they dropped off dirt. So I'm one of the guys that knows how to operate the gator up there, this little tractor we have. So we're up there. I'm up there just doing circles on my gator, like doing figure eights, doing lines, trying to make sure that it's like trying to level everything out. We got the mounds demoed. We're gonna try to demo home plates and the batter's boxes to reset them. You'll see, Big Z, when your kid gets old enough, a lot of kids, they get in there and they dig, right? They see the pros dig. So they dig that back foot and they just make a massive divot. So we're gonna to eliminate that. We're gonna try to get some better materials in there. But it has been a long week for your boy. But you know what? We're here and we're happy.
That's. Do you guys? Hold on before we move on. Do you guys get like more funding from the city or the county or whatever because like you guys did so well? Like your whole program, like Upland Little League, does really well like across the board. Like they go through like all-stars like to multiple tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, so do you guys have decent funding for that from the city, or is it like really all just like parents?
We do. We have some funding, but it's just for certain things, right? So they're helping us out like the snack bar and stuff. Like they'll do certain things.
Yeah.
But there's 3 little leagues in Upland, which is actually what kills us, because if you combine those, like we'd have a really good team.
Yeah.
But like to your point, Upland Foothill, going we're a part of, has been just incredible. All the all-star teams made a run. First one was done in sectionals, which is great. And then 2 of our teams, the 9s and the 11s, made it to state. Or the 10s and 11s made it to state. The 12s are the ones that lost the sectionals, which still very impressive. There's a lot of really good teams that go to those tournaments. So we work with them all the time. But no, like when it comes to things like this, a lot of time it's just volunteer hours. So we had a work day last Saturday. We're gonna have a work day this Saturday. So we're gonna be up there, hopefully building some baseball mounds. It's gonna be a long Saturday, but nice. I mean, it's all, dude. You know what? At the end of the day, it's like, do you have to do it? No. But do you want to give the kids the best possible experience? And the answer is unequivocally yes. That's why we do it. That's why we love it. That's why I love Christmas. I got my big tree. It makes me so happy. You can't see it. People can't see it, but I can see it. I got this big tree.
Right, bro.
And I got such a big tree that there's not even room for a star at the top. Danielle let me order the tree that I wanted. So I ordered the biggest tree I could find because I love me some Christmas. And like I'm unpacking this thing, and Danielle's like, sweetheart, like how are we gonna fit the star? And I'm like, babe, it's gonna be great. We'll fit it. And we didn't fit it. But the tree looks great. It's huge. It looks fantastic.
That's what counts.
So yeah, it's great, dude. It's super good. Hopefully whatever you guys are doing for Christmas, let us know. Put in the comments.
Let us know. Yeah, please.
Give us a movie. Or if you hate Lindsay Lohan, tell us. Whatever it is. Let us know.
If you don't like Christmas, tell us what you do instead of Christmas. Like whatever. It's all good. I
have a few friends that are like very open. Like their favorite holiday is actually 4th of July, which 4th of July is a good one. Barbecuing, poolside, like that's a good holiday. I'm not gonna lie.
It's fun, but it doesn't give you that nice, cozy, homey feeling as no, it doesn't. At least to me.
And calories don't count in December. We all know this.
No, right? They don't. They
December
truly don't.
Is for fudge and hot chocolate, and we get back on the train in January.
Are you a big eggnog guy?
I like eggnog. I can't say that we have it regularly, but I like it.
All right. So December is like my egg. I don't have it throughout the year, but like I'll buy like a jug and, just like have like a little sips here and there. It's not like 3 times or 4 times a day, but it's in the fridge. I used to not be an eggnog guy. But yeah, now I like it. I guess it's just a sign of me getting old, but yeah, calories don't count is the point.
Calories don't count. Calories don't count. You get a little hot chocolate, you add a little something to it.
That's right. A little bit of flavor. Some little eggnog. It's all good.
A little bit of in there. All right, we're doing it. We're gonna get started with the podcast. But YouTube, we love you so much. Seriously, the numbers have been amazing. Keep coming to our page. Keep subscribing. Keep telling your friends. We appreciate it so much.
We do.
Thank you. Yes, we are back. It's your boys, the Brevity Boys, Big Z. Say hi to the people. Say hi to the people on the podcast.
What's up, podcast people? How you doing? I'm doing great. My belly is still full from Thanksgiving. I ate a bunch of food. And then the next couple of days, I ate even more food because it's Christmas time. And so all the fudge, all the eggnog,
Yes.
all that stuff came into my weekly diet, my daily diet. And I just feel holly and jolly. So I'm pumped.
I threw down a turkey that once again, Big Z, I always
Did it
brag
just fall
about
off
you.
the bone? It just
I always brag about you because you're easy to brag about. You're the best podcast co-host ever. He's a great friend. He's a great man, great father, all the things. But I gotta brag on myself, dude. I made this turkey, bro. My dad's sitting here. He's watching me pull it apart. He's like, "You want a knife?" I was like, "Dad, I'm not gonna
a
need
knife? What a
I'm
knife?
not
Come
gonna
on.
need a knife on this bad boy." I pull it out, dude. I literally grab one leg, just comes right out. I kid you not. I literally stick a fork into the left breast of this thing, and I use my other fork to just kind of like do like a little bit of a little scissoring motion. And just boop, just pop right off, whole breast, dude. On
There
my
it is,
fork.
man. There it
It
is.
was amazing. Just shredded it up, dude. It was so
Bro,
succulent.
I'm gonna have to try that, man. I have to try that one time.
I told Jason this. Whoever, if you're interested in letting your turkey rest, I get it. And there's a lot of people who will say, "Oh, I make the argument that I don't. I like to let it rest before I cut it up." Listen, I also like quote unquote let my turkey rest. But little trick that I use that, like, honestly, dude, I've never had anybody disappointed at my turkey table. I get oh gosh, Jason's gonna make so much fun of me when he listens to this because a Pyrex. He taught me that word, Pyrex. I got a Pyrex bowl, and I put my turkey in there. Right, darks on this side, whites on this side, like a nice big one. And so I get all the meat off like immediately as soon as it comes out. I cut open the bag. I get everything out. I put it in the Pyrex, and then I grab my pan that was in. Like I said, the Pyrex, they come with like walls, and I just pour all the juice. I pour a bunch of juice.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Pour a bunch of juice in there. I put the foil over it to let it rest. Oh.
So you cut it, or you do the thing. You take all the meat off the bone.
Yep.
Then you let it rest.
Then I let it rest in its own just concoction of goodness and juices.
All right. Well, that's the best. That's the best stuff right there. Its own juices.
Oh, dude.
You can't beat that. Like that's where that's where the best gravy comes from. Is when you make gravy out of the turkey juice.
So that's what Danielle every year she comes up to me and goes, "Oh, give me some of that juice."
Yeah, that's right.
I put it in the little bowl for her.
Super easy. Yeah, it's
so good.
So good, man. Oh my god.
So good. I was
making me hungry again. I can't. It's been a week.
Oh, I
can't believe it, bro.
I fat boyed it up. I had like 6 plates at least that day, dude. Because we ate at 2. We're one of those families. We have a lunch. I know a lot of people out there do like dinner. We like lunch.
Oh yeah, we do lunch. Yeah.
Then we can fat it up the rest of the day. Like you eat at 2, and at 4 o'clock you're not even.
Because then you get hungry again, right?
4 o'clock you're like not even hungry. We're like, you know what? I can use a second route, right?
That's right.
5 o'clock rolls around, you get some dessert, right? You get some dessert in there, get some dessert going, right? And then all of a sudden, it's that late night football game. 6, 7 o'clock rolls around. I was like, dude, it's time for din. Time for dinner,
bro.
Let's get it.
Get those leftovers. Yeah, we do a second Thanksgiving the next day with all the leftovers.
Oh,
so like we all go to Haley's grandma's house, and like there's like another turkey being made actually that day because all the other turkey was eaten. And then we make that turkey. We bring over all like the stuffing, the mac and cheese, all that other stuff that all the leftovers from the day before.
Yeah.
And then we bring over bread. Like if anyone wants to make a turkey sandwich, like the classic, put the mayonnaise on, for mustard, whatever. And yeah, man. So it was good.
I did. By the way, I tried it.
Weekend.
I tried it this year because of your recommendation. It was delicious.
Yeah,
it's a mayo on that puppy.
Yeah, it's just
sourdough. Bomb.
It's a different. It gives it like a good flavor.
I mean, I had multiple. Flavor. I'd be lying if I said I had one turkey sandwich. Right? Like we made like a 20-pound bird, and then Danielle's mom, like, there's some family stuff that happened. She couldn't make it, so a couple people couldn't make it. So like we put. Don't get me wrong. Like the turkey was gone the next day. Like we put a massive dent in this thing for only like the people that were here, and still. Like, so I was able to have a couple sandwiches. So I had the mustard and the mayo. I was like, you know what? I'm doing both.
Yeah,
I
bro.
can do both.
Why not?
Calories don't count in December, people. They don't count.
They don't count, even though that was in November, but it doesn't count.
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't count, dude.
As soon as Thanksgiving meal is done, okay.
It's the Christmas
December.
season.
It's December.
It is. It has come upon us. And I wish our bodies thought the same way, but in our brains, as long as our brains think that calories don't count, it's all that's all
But
that
see,
matters.
that's my problem. Is for me, December started November 1st, and so they haven't counted for the last month and a half. That's the issue that I get into.
Yeah. Well, that's an issue I have with you because I think your calories did count in November. So,
If you
sorry,
side with
bro.
me, comment below. If you side with the Grinch over there, no, I can't even call it because look at that sweater. That's a nice sweater. I'm gonna wear Christmas sweaters the rest of the way, Big Z. What am I even doing? What am I even doing? Spoiler alert: this is a baseball sweater because guess what? Your boy came from where? The field.
It was out
But
the
next
field
week,
tonight.
but next week I'm gonna do it. Jumping right in, Big Z. Thursday night football has been absolutely incredible. The
It
money
has.
and the viewership that Amazon lost last year by trying to feature the Jets and a Russell Wilson-led Broncos team, was not a good fit. They are gaining back this year because it just seems like hit
True.
after hit, including tonight. Listen, if you're a Green Bay fan, you have nothing to hang your head about in this game. You went into Detroit and you proved a point, and I loved it. Right, like you showed them when we see you in the playoffs, you're not going to walk over us. I cannot wait for this. I can't wait for the rematch, Big Z. I'm already looking forward to it.
It's gonna be fun. I also on the Detroit side, I love that Dan Campbell just has not learned his lesson from last year, going for it on fourth down. Like they could have had the lead, and yet this time they converted on that fourth down. And I just love that he just sticks to his guns. He does not care about the outside noise. Doesn't care what the media people would say, even if they didn't get that fourth down conversion. He just sticks to his guns. And I also love how well coached they are because that fourth down play, Jared Goff goes from behind center and he trips, but everything else around him is still going so smoothly that he was able to hand the ball off to Montgomery and they're able to convert on that fourth down. Everyone else did their job to perfection, and that's a sign of a well-coached team. Like, yes, your quarterback can mess up, but everything else around him went well, and they converted and they won that game. I just think, they only won by 3 points, but this team, I think right now is the best team in the NFC by far.
Right.
Yeah. Just great game. I love it. I love Dan Campbell.
You know what? We talked about it. We've talked about it time and time again. This guy deserves all the praise, all the love, all the admiration, sticking to his guns. When ESPN, the entirety just about of ESPN looked at this guy and just said how unfair it was he was hired without any experience, and they passed over all these guys. By the way, Eric Bieniemy just got fired from UCLA. Just fun fact for everybody.
Right.
I know it's not something anybody's talking about. He's the offensive coordinator over there. They just let him go. So there was a lot of names brought up, including Eric Bieniemy at the time that Dan Campbell was hired. It's like, how could he be hired over this guy? How could they? Turns out Detroit knew exactly what they were doing, and he is a good coach. So this is a lesson to everybody, again, in the ESPN world or the news world, like, wait and see, right? Wait and see. We can make our predictions. We can take our guesses, but wait and see. Big Z and I, you'll notice, even when we have a negative take, even when we're talking about somebody, right? Caleb Williams, give you a great example. What did we say? We said, listen, he is not going to be the stud you think he's going to be, but he's going to be a good starting quarterback. He could be a fine starting quarterback. That's what you're seeing, right? It doesn't always have to be this hateful take, right? It just seems like the media, Big Z, they want to go this way or like so far this way or so far that way. And it's like, dude, what if he is good? Like, you don't know. And I get it. Like, hey, we're going to bite kneecaps, and that threw people off. But guess what? Here he is making all of you look stupid. So stupid, because he's clearly one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the National Football League right now. No one thought that Lions team could turn it around. And now here they are, this absolute powerhouse. And again, you saw it at times, not to hate on him, but you saw it at times. Jared Goff looked good in this game, but when he was under pressure, it didn't look that great. So what has Dan Campbell done? He has built this team around that running game. You'll notice even when he didn't have a great game tonight, even when Jahmyr Gibbs was getting stuffed time after time, they kept running the ball because Dan Campbell understands to be successful with Detroit, to be successful with Jared Goff, the running game has to be there. Again, credit to this coach, where most coaches would say, you know what? The running game's not working out. Let's just start airing it out. Let's start going to Amon-Ra. Let's start going to Williams. We're not going to run anymore. Dan Campbell's like, no. For this offense to run, for us to win games, the running game has to work, and eventually it will break through. That is a sign of a good coach. Much to your point, Big Z.
I love it. I love the point. Great
I
take.
love it. I love it. Moving right
Not even a
along.
hot take, dude. Just an honest,
This is
great
an
take.
honest take. Listen, the Steelers, right? My boy out there is listening somewhere. I already know he is. Junior, you know this is for you, buddy. We've been talking about the Steelers. You asked us to talk about the Steelers on Instagram. We're talking about the Steelers once again. Huge win in the Bengals. The boy, Jason the Showman Strowman, and I agree with him. I can't just leave him out to dry. I agree with him. I said this is a scare game. I think the Bengals are going to win. The Steelers were like, not so fast. They absolutely balled, Big Z.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong too. I took the Bengals winning that game. I picked them in the pick 'em.
Yep.
In our brevity team league. Yeah, the Steelers went in on the road, divisional game. We know it's going to be tough. And once again, Russell Wilson balled. I cannot be more happier than I am for Russell Wilson. Just all the hate that he got last year. And this guy, he just deserves it. You can just tell that people have rallied behind him, and including Mike Tomlin just believes in him, allows him to do what he wants. And it's just great to see. And also, Mike Tomlin just deserves, again, so much credit. I don't know if you've seen the Hard Knocks episode that just came out. It's the in season. They're covering the whole AFC North division, but they have the cameras during that game, and the first play of the game was a pick six, and the pass was from Russell Wilson to Pickens, and Pickens fell down, and his defender hit the corner, got it, and got the pick six. Mike Tomlin goes over to him and is like, look, like, put your head up, man. Like, it's all good. Like, I need you. Stop pouting.
Right.
Like, put your head up. We need you to win this game. And Pickens had such a great game after that. And there were so many times in that episode where they highlight how many times that Mike Tomlin just goes over to his players and just talks to him like he's a fellow player. And that's what makes him special among the head coaches in the NFL, because a lot of head coaches can't do that. And the Steelers and Steelers fans, they should be super thankful to have such a great coach in Mike Tomlin. Like, he's dealt with so many knuckleheads in the past, like Antonio Brown, now George Pickens, but he's able to get them to play for him and to play for the team. So I love it. I'm happy for them. They're doing things. They're definitely a threat to the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Bills in the AFC.
They're real. I think anybody looking through the Steelers, what the biggest thing that stood out to me this game was the fact that the Steelers needed to score, and they did that. That was the thing, right? Like, it wasn't just like this defense. What do you think, Steelers? You think defensive, grind out, run it, Najee's balling? Like, no. This was a Steelers team airing it out, like having beautiful passes. I mean, it's just not something that we're accustomed to, right? We're not accustomed to it. There was one moment in this game we do have to talk about, because the fans were talking about it, Big Z. It was all over our Twitter. It was all over everywhere. The boy, TJ Watt, right? TJ Watt takes down Joe Burrow, does sort of a gator roll motion. Now, I want to preface this. JJ Watt has already come out and defended his brother on Pat McAfee show. His quote was something to the effect of, hey, everybody who's upset with this is how we're taught to tackle. This is perfect because we're not supposed to hit him too high. We're not supposed to hit him too low. We're supposed to hit him in the midsection and then roll. I don't know if I buy it, Big Z. I'm not going to lie to you. What are your thoughts on this? Did you see the hit?
I saw it. I've looked at it a few times. I think if Joe Burrow actually got hurt, like his ankle was actually twisted, I think it would have been more of a bigger deal to more people. And like, I feel like there'd be less defense of the tackle. But it can be perceived as dirty. I'm kind of neutral on this one, just because I do feel for the defenses nowadays. Like, where can they tackle?
Right.
And the quarterbacks are so protected. It's an offensive league. The league wants to protect the offensive players, and penalize and find the defensive players. So on this one, I'm going to be boring, and I'm not really going to pick a side. I can see both ways. But the fact is, Burrow got up. It was fine. It's a divisional game. And JJ Watt makes a point. Like, this is, you're taught to hit people and roll. So I don't know, man. It's tough for me to say either way.
You know what, dude? I actually agree with you on this one, man. Like, it seems like he takes him down and he tries to roll. He didn't hit him high. He didn't hit him low.
Yeah.
If Joe Burrow gets hurt, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I've never. Let me just say, I think a lot of times we'll discuss another gentleman who was fined and now is now suspended in a bit under our losers column. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But with TJ, he's never shown us anything to
No, he
suggest
hasn't.
he's a dirty player.
Yeah.
He's anytime he's ever been called into question, it's like, oh, I could sort of see that one, right? Like off cuff, I can't think of anything. You know, if you could think of one, Big Z, please
I
correct me.
can't.
I really
No,
can't.
I can't.
Not off cuff. I mean, somebody out there is probably like, oh, he was fine back last year with it, but I can't think of anything super egregious or multiple fines that was like, ooh, is he dirty? I don't think so. I just don't think so.
No, he plays the game the right way and within the confines of the rules, in my opinion. And again, it looks more dirty when you slow it down in slow motion, right? Like in regular motion, like in real time, it's like, could have been better, yeah, but like it could have been worse. Like he could have held onto the ankle and really twisted it, like with his arms, like
Right.
like I don't know. I think, and it was a Bengals fan who brought it up, who kind of started the whole controversy thing. So makes
Right.
sense, right? So,
Yeah.
I think the league was wise not to punish him on this.
I think it's really funny. I did just Google just to make sure we weren't insane. And the first fines that came up for TJ Watt were helmet infractions. Like he took off his helmet at the wrong time. So the NFL was like, "Yep, you're fine." So
Yeah,
he didn't
super
swing it
good.
at he didn't swing it at anybody, by the way. He just took it off.
Right,
It's
right.
worth
right.
noting because it's
Yes.
happened. So another big winner, Big Z. Another couple of big winners: the Vikings and the Manders. Right, the Manders rebound. The Vikings make a comeback. Which one's bigger to you, Big Z?
I think the Commanders, we were talking about them last week about you got to go back to your identity as a team, utilize your weapon in McLaurin, utilize your legs if you're Daniels. And yeah, it was the Titans coming into your home field, but they took advantage of the Titans and they just mashed them. They looked like a completely different team. They didn't look like they were struggling. They looked healthy again. They went back to their game plan. And if they play like that, that could be a team that could potentially win and upset a team on the road in the playoffs, in my opinion. They just have a really high-powered offense. Yeah. And when Jaden Daniels looks that confident and he's throwing to McLaurin, yeah, they look good, man. So I think they're the biggest winner out of those two.
I agree. I did think the Vikings were impressive. I did think the Cardinals took a little bit too long to adjust. Look, the Cardinals, you got to be able to adjust, right? The Vikings were all over James Conner. They let you know early on, James Conner's not going to win you this game. Much like the Lions, I think you still got to go to him. That's fine. But the inability of the Cardinals to really adjust in the moment, right? Conner after Conner after Conner. It's like, look, okay, it's not working, right? So we do have to throw the ball at some point. And then when they finally did figure it out with Trey McBride, he's an absolute dog. You have a ton of weapons on this team.
Yeah.
You got to be able to adjust and make it fluid, right? Tonight, the Lions never abandoned the run, but they certainly hit Javonte Williams. They certainly hit Patrick, right? Like they kept hitting these receivers and then mixing in the run. You got to be well balanced. That's one of the things the Cardinals need to take away from this game. I think that's ultimately why they lost.
Yeah.
Credit to the Vikings making a big comeback. That's awesome. But again, I agree with you. The Manders, look, this is your recipe for success. Jaden Daniels getting outside the pocket, hurting you with his legs, hitting McLaurin, and trusting Brian Robinson. Me and Big Z have been telling you this all year. This is your path to success. This is a huge win. Keep it going. Broncos and Browns.
Wow, what a game.
My God.
What a game, dude.
I just got to say, one of my favorite parts of this game, one of my favorite moments was, oh my gosh, what is his name? The announcer, not Joe Buck, but Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman talking about Bo Nix, literally he's not seeing the field. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. As he's dissing the guy, Bo Nix fires like a 90-yard bomb. Just hucks it down the field. It was just beautiful. Jameis just playing it like he doesn't care. Big Z. Man. He's gold, man. Jameis is gold. Talk to me about what you saw, Big Z.
I love Jameis. He just gives the team this infectious energy that Deshaun Watson clearly was not giving them. And even in a loss, you can just tell that they love him and they know, all those guys on offense know that they're going to get the ball, like regardless of, what play is called. I think he has I think since he's started for the Browns, they average 70 plays a game, which is the most in the NFL.
Right.
Jameis Winston he's not the best quarterback in the league, but I think he definitely deserves like a starting job. There are teams that could definitely use him. Like the Jets, for example, could probably use Jameis Winston. I just love his energy. I love who he is. He's super positive. And the team is definitely rallying around him. It was a great game. It was like over 700 yards of offense combined. Bo Nix, what a great, I guess, like for some people they could say it's a coming out party.
Right.
You and I have been talking about him. He's really progressing this year as a quarterback. You've been believing in him longer than I have. And so it was just a great game all around for both sides, for the NFL especially, because, again, Monday Night Football has been kind of lame as well. And so for this game, going into it, I was like, oh, Browns-Broncos, that's going to be boring. But it actually turned out to be a great shootout, something the NFL
so good
loved, I'm sure. But Bo Nix, man, like they're 8-5. That team, that's also another team. If they stick to their identity, Bo Nix makes the right reads, doesn't turn the ball over. That's a team that could win a game in the playoffs for sure.
And by the way, you knew I was going to chew his horn a little bit. He is the only rookie quarterback at the moment right now doing this without a run game. The Broncos don't have a run game.
Yes.
Right. Ramondre Stevenson is the bright side for the Patriots. Swift has figured it out for the Bears. Brian Robinson is a dog for the Manders. He is the one doing this without a backfield. It seems like Sean Payton's just riding the hot hand. He doesn't trust any of these running backs. So he's killing it. And also, by the way, I just want to throw this out there. A lot of people were talking about, including my boy Chris Harris. I love this dude. I listen to him all the time. He decided to go off of Bo Nix about this interception down the middle of the field. Listen, if you are a receiver in this league and your quarterback gives you a one-on-one shot down the field, at the very least, you've got to stop the defender from catching the ball. You don't have to catch it. You do not have to catch it. But if you want to be an elite receiver in this league, your quarterback's going to give you a shot. That's what Joe Burrow. How can you praise this? I'm a little bit hot right now. I'm not going to lie. How can you praise Joe Burrow? Because everybody praises Joe Burrow night in and night out for doing the exact same thing. Because what? He knows if Jamar Chase doesn't catch it, nobody else is. Because Jamar's going to take you down. That is what you need to do for your quarterback. That is what builds trust. That is what builds chemistry. So that interception to me, was it a great throw? Probably not. Should he have thrown it? Probably not. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Stop the defender from catching the ball if you want to earn the trust of your quarterback, period. He's going to give you a shot. He sees you one-on-one. He's going to give you the opportunity. You want to be an elite receiver in this league? Go get it or stop the receiver, the defender from catching it, period.
Who was the receiver? I don't know.
I believe it was Mims. I believe it was Mims who caught the touchdown pass just a little bit later, so that worked out. I believe it was Mims. But again, these guys, you got, especially if it's a rookie, help your rookie quarterback out, man. Help him out. But I loved it. Broncos, like you said, they're a playoff team, Big Z. I mean, they're going to be great. Yeah. They're going to be a tough out, dude. They're going to be a tough out. They got a good defense. Obviously, they weren't ready for Jameis, but who is? I mean, this is one of the few guys in the league. Guy could throw 5 interceptions. I mean, people forget I think he's the only quarterback in the league with 30 for 30. Right?
Yeah.
30 and 30. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Just never stopped. Led me to a fantasy championship that year because it didn't matter. Right?
Right.
You lose 2 points. You lose 2 points for every interception, but you gain 4 or 6 for every touchdown. So you do the math. It doesn't matter. And when the dude's throwing for like 400 yards, who cares? Like
what did he say after the game? He's like, man, I'm praying to the Lord that he delivers me from throwing pick sixes.
He's gold.
Like, at least he's just joking about it. He knows. Gold. He knows. I mean, again, like if you watch the AFC North Hard Knocks thing, they focus a lot on Jameis and the offensive line, and they love him. They love him.
But how can you be mad at it? I mean, how can people not like this? At least the Broncos are the Broncos. At least the Browns are fun to watch.
They're so fun. Jerry Jeudy. Like, look at Jerry Jeudy. Oh my gosh. Like, this guy is having the best season of his career with Jameis Winston.
I mean, dude, come on. The Browns were terrible at the start of the year. Right. Nobody wanted to watch them. And now all of us, every single one of us, whoever they play next week, we're turning it up.
The Steelers.
The Steelers, right. Like, is it going to be 9-6 or is it going to be 42-39 with Jameis Winston throwing all over the Steelers team? We don't know. We'd love to tell you. We have no idea. By the way, he threw 2 pick sixes and they almost won the game. Okay. 2. Yeah. And they still almost won the game. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I love this guy.
I love it. I love him. I love him, man.
That's why he's
great
not
TV.
He's not our losers column. I'll tell you who is in our losers column this week. We told them, Big Z, you posted it on Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, my boy Big Z is doing an incredible job. He's posting clips of us talking with what's going on. And oftentimes we're right, and when we're not right, we tell you Drake May's a dog. We got it wrong. We thought he wasn't going to be a dog. Turns out
Right.
he's a dog. All right.
Yep. Right.
Miami, dude, you needed to win. What were you doing? Dude, McDaniels, it's cool that you have the hiked up jogger pants and you got the cool hairdo and you're totally
Yeah.
Miami now, but you got to win games. You have to, and you have the weapons, right? You have Tua's back. You got Achane, you got Hill, you got Waddle, you have this great new tight end, Jonnu, and you're still losing games. And they looked completely outmatched. They looked freezing after all this talk about we're going to come out and we're not going to be the team that's soft and we're not scared of the cold. And all of them are huddling by the heaters, Big Z.
I don't understand. Like if I'm McDaniel or I'm some leader on that team, I'm saying, fine, like in the beginning of the week, we're going up and we're practicing for this whole week in this weather. Like we are acclimating to this weather. We'll fly home for Thanksgiving, be with our families on, actually it was on Thursday. So never mind. Anyways, the point is do something else because obviously whatever you're doing isn't working. Practicing in the 85-degree weather and then flying the next day and playing this in 25 degrees is not working for you. This is obviously your Achilles heel. You're great at home. You're great in all warm weather in the domes. You're great in all those situations. This is the only time where you look bad unless you don't have Tua. Do something about it. I don't understand why they're not. And they just looked terrible. They look soft. And apparently there was like some players like, wow, if our coach is huddling by a heater in the locker room, he looks and he's being cold. We're going to do the same thing. Like that's not a show of strong leadership. And apparently it came out, it was leaked out by some anonymous players. And so again, you got to do something about it. You got to change the narrative about your team because you're playing a great division. You're most likely going to lose that division to the Bills every single year. So you know what that means? You're going to go on the road. You're not going to get to host a playoff game. You have to go to Buffalo. You have to go to Baltimore. You have to go to Kansas City. You're going to have to go through one of those guys to get to the Super Bowl. That's your goal, right? And if it is, you're going to have to learn how to play in the cold. So figure it out.
No, 100%, man. 100%. You got the Broncos. They're playing the Colts, the Chargers, the Bengals, the Chiefs. They could win all those games. I know the Chiefs are in there. I still think they could easily win all those games with the way they're looking. So the idea that the Miami Dolphins are going to overtake the Broncos or the Ravens, I don't see it. I don't see it. The Chargers are playing good ball. I don't see it. Chargers 8-4, Baltimore 8-5. We'll talk about that in our playoff breakdown. But again, when you're looking at this team, you got to find a way. Take a note out of Tom Brady's playbook. If nobody remembers, Tom Brady used to wear a wetsuit when he was really cold. He used to go buy a wetsuit. So maybe Miami needs to make some custom wetsuits with the Miami logos. All the players throw them on, including the coaches. But you got to figure it out, right? You got the money. Buy them some wetsuits so they can play in the cold. They won't even feel it. Wetsuits are incredible. Go get one. You're going to be okay. The Jets, dumpster fire continues. It looked exciting for 2 seconds. Breece Hall looks like he's on one leg. They're in shambles. They're in shambles.
I just don't understand, man. Like Aaron Rodgers has no excuse. He has so many weapons around him. We talk about it every single week. Like this is just this week's version of the dumpster fire Jets. There's just what is it? What's the excuse this week? I didn't even know. Did he give one? Or did he just not say anything? I honestly, because he's never going to blame himself, and they just look trash. And he wants to say that. This is the thing. Like there's going to be. I'm just warning y'all. There's going to be so much Jets drama this offseason because he just renovated his house in New Jersey. He wants to stay there. He's talking about him wanting to be there for the rest of his career and wanting it back because this season is lost. Blah 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 blah. And the owner doesn't want him back. This guy ruined this franchise. He has gotten so many people fired, and it's gotten to a point now where like Rodgers needs to look himself in the mirror and like, I probably need to retire. Like I think I'm done. Like if he can't, you cannot exceed or succeed with these weapons around you. You got an issue, man. And like it's you. It starts with you.
I mean, look, at some point he's got to look himself in the mirror. We are already surprised. Right, we were already surprised that he said he wanted to be a Jet. We're like, we said it last week. Go back and listen to the podcast. No, you don't. You haven't shown it, right? You haven't shown it. I don't know what his excuse is. I'm sure he's blaming his age or something. I don't know. I don't know what his excuse is. And frankly, it doesn't matter. He has the weapons. They brought in Adams to make him happy, right? They brought in Lazard to make him happy, right? He's got Garrett Wilson. He's got Breece Hall. He's got Allen, who looks pretty good as a backup. There's no excuses. He's got a good defense.
Yeah, man.
It's just a toxic environment. Got everybody fired, and they're still losing. It's a dumpster fire. It's terrible. And I'll tell you what, I still feel worse for Joe Burrow. because their season's donezo. This dude's balling, and their season
Yeah.
is absolutely donezo. This might be one of the greatest performances we've ever seen from a quarterback whose team is 4-8.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more Joe Burrow can do.
There's nothing like you talk about like, oh, like when there's fans and media people like, well, you can't say excuses. Like there's no excuses.
No.
Like you lost the game. This guy can have some excuses, and it's his owner not investing in the defense. It says GM not investing, just putting all the weapons around him on offense, and that's it. That's where all the money is, and all the rest of them are just journeymen on the other side of the defensive side of the ball. It's embarrassing to see the Bengals play defense. It truly is. We are so far into the season. Maybe if it was the first month, like they're still figuring out new schemes, new defensive coordinator, all that stuff, fine. I can get that. But you're this far. Now we're into December and you still look this bad on defense. Something has to change. You have to start investing. Lose T. Higgins. Don't pay him next year and use that money to sign some great defensive players and then draft defensive players because it looks bad. You need to help out your guy. The point is to win Super Bowls, not to have a good offense and miss the playoffs every single year.
Right.
And Joe Burrow's doing everything he can. But I'm telling you, Joe Burrow could be this good without Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. I guarantee you. He may not have 400 yards a game, but he's going to have 350 yards a game. He's going to be fine. Right? Invest in the defensive side of the ball. He
looks great. I mean, but part of the problem though, Big Z, is that like Ja'Marr should have already been paid, right? Like paid.
Yeah, no, I disagree with that. He has 2 years left on his contract after this year. Like it's too early to call for that. If I'm him, like in my opinion.
Yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna have to bet
and look what it got Ayuk in the Niners, and look where it got CD and the Cowboys.
I think Ja'Marr Chase is better than Ayuk, but CD is a good case. That's a really good example. Because I think CD Lamb and Ja'Marr were they're right there.
If Ja'Marr Chase, which he will, he'll hold out again this year with 1 year left. That's fine to me. That's fine. Playing on the rookie 5th year option, whatever. But with 2 years left, this is collectively bargained. Again, already got this. I sound pro team here, but I'm not. This is collectively bargained by your players' union.
Right. Yeah.
Do something about it with your union.
Yep.
Okay. It's like
if you don't want to pay, baseball. Look at baseball, right? Blake Snell was trying to get the Giants trying to underpay him, so he's like, "Fine, underpay me, but I have an opt out." Right? If Ja'Marr Chase was serious about getting the money, get an opt out. Right? Include those clauses. Hey, you're not wrong, man. And Joe Burrow, I mean, dude, the numbers don't lie, man. You look at who's one of the favorite MVPs right now, Big Z. Like for the whole league.
Allen,
right? So actual like Vegas odds. Okay, Allen is thrown for 2,691 yards. He's got 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, QBR 74.7. Okay. Joe Burrow is thrown for 3,000. Joe Burrow's thrown for 3,337 yards, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 10 more passing touchdowns. I know I'm missing out on the rushing touchdowns. Get out of here with that. Listen, Joe Burrow's doing everything he can do. You feel so bad for this guy. And you're right, Big Z. He's got to have help on defense.
Yeah. So if you pay Ja'Marr Chase what he deserves, $30 million a year, that money he's getting paid $1 million a year. So you're going to take away $29 million from that defense to pay him. It's not going to help Joe Burrow. It's not. And then you talk about MVP. Like, what's the definition of most valuable player? Winning games? Or if you take the player off of that squad, they're trash. I think if you take Joe Burrow off that squad, they're going to be trash. Yeah. So I do think Joe Burrow should be in the conversation for MVP.
I think I don't mind him being in the conversation. I think it's hard to win it with the wins and losses. But honestly, I think I don't see anything wrong with him being in the conversation. But I think the guy that I want in that conversation more than anybody else is actually not in the conversation. It's like Saquon Barkley to me is like, I look at him on the Eagles. Like last year, this Eagles team was dysfunctional. They lost in the first round of the playoffs. They didn't have an offense. Like Saquon, you take him off the Eagles. Like it's time, NFL. I know this has nothing to do with what we were talking about, but it is time.
But again, you hit my point right on the head. MVP. You take Saquon away from that team, that Eagles team is not nearly as explosive on offense.
No.
Yet it's the same version as they were last year. Yet they had Jalen Hurts. They have Brown, Smith, Goddard, all those guys.
Yep. Don't care.
But you take them away, that team is a 9-8, a 10-7 team at best.
Yep.
You're going to leave in the first round of the playoffs. So yeah, most valuable player. Yes, exactly. You put him in that squad. Great.
With Saquon, could they go to Green Bay and win? Could they go to the Lions and win? 100%.
Yes.
Yep. They could beat anybody. They go anywhere and win with Saquon. Without Saquon Barkley, you're out first round. Gone. Joe Burrow, the Bengals are probably winless without Joe Burrow. To your point.
Yeah.
I mean,
the most valuable player award is a popularity contest nowadays. In my opinion, it is.
I saw a really good video from Brand today. He's talking about how is Josh Allen going to win? So it's the narrative, man. Like, he hasn't won before, and his team has a good enough record. Which, I get it. I do get it on some level. You can't give it to the guy that. Okay, but fine. If you're not going to give it to Joe Burrow, give it to Saquon. Okay, his team is winning, and it's his team. NFL, it's his team.
That's right.
Last but not least, last loser, Azeez Al-Shaair. Guy is suspended for 3 games. And I just want to point out, this is hard for me, Big Z. I gotta disagree with my boy, and I love my boy. I love my boy. He's my GOAT. I gotta disagree with my boy Tom Brady. Tom Brady came out and he said, quarterbacks need to defend themselves, and I actually agree with that premise. I agree, and we've talked about it before on this podcast, Big Z. We're consistent. We think it's crap when quarterbacks pretend to slide. Like, that is no place in football. Like, if you pretend to slide, honestly, it should be a penalty. Like, slide, okay? Don't do the whole, I'm going down. No, that's trash, okay? Run out of bounds, and if they hit you, like the other day, we talked about it. The hit on Caleb Williams. Great hit. Caleb tried to be cute. Instead of running out of bounds, tried to stop. The defender's like, no, that's not happening. Hit him. Great hit. That's what it is, okay? So, in the spirit of consistency, I'm just getting that out of the way. The problem here for me, and tell me if you disagree, but the problem here for me, Azeez, this is not his first offense. That's the biggest issue. When everybody's talking about, we need consistency. Dude, this guy, this year alone, has been fined 3 times. Whether or not you agree with it, whether or not you think the hit on Tony Pollard was late, he was fined for the hit on Tony Pollard, right? And he was fined for punching Roschon Johnson. You think after punching somebody in week 2 and getting fined, like, hey, dude, you got to clean this up. Like, it's time, right? You just punched a dude. Get it under control. If that was the only other thing he did this year, I'd say, suspension. Like, this is his second egregious thing that we've seen. And unfortunately, it did lead to injury. And like you said, Big Z, as much as we hate to say it, the result does matter, right? If TJ Watt injures Joe Burrow, we're talking about it a lot more, right? In this instance, you injured the quarterback. We don't know when he's back. It's going to be talked about it more. Right or wrong, it's going to be talked more about, especially when you have this many suspensions. Fights.
His history, track record does not help him. I mean, he played on the Niners. He did hits like this a lot. And it was a bad hit. It was a really dirty hit, really bad optics, right? For the NFL. This is what the NFL does not want. Like, they take this out of their football games, like their video games, because they don't want this. They don't want this look. They don't want little, parents of little kids seeing this. Like, I don't want Oliver. I don't want Grayson to play football. Like, they don't want that. So suspend them.
Right.
What I don't like is that a lot of fans are going after him as a person, going after him and his religion, going after him and his family. I don't like that. Like that, I think that's a little too far. Like, there's been a lot of like bad stuff said about him, and he went on to Twitter and talked about it. And I agree with him there. And there is no place in this world for that. And we know there are people like that, but there is no place for that. There is no defense or excuse to talk bad about a person's character. Having said that, Al-Shaair needs to look in the mirror again, as we talk about with Aaron Rodgers. He needs to look like, I got to change something, whether I'm just going at it too hard, but I got to change something about the way I play. I have to figure out, I got to talk to my coaches and put me through that lesson in training camp, how to tackle in today's NFL. Because 20 years ago, that hit was okay in the NFL, right? And so I'm sure he's learned that from an old school type of NFL player, but you got to tweak some things. If you just lean with your shoulder, it would have been okay, right? It's just tweaking the little things, an inch different here, an inch difference there, and it would have been fine. And so he just has to figure it out. And he needs some help when it comes to that. But he's a great player. I don't think he's a terrible person for that. People need to stop attacking him and his team going, supporting him. Of course, his team's going to go and support him.
Can't be surprised about
it. You can't be surprised about that. So I think, yeah, he needs to figure things out, tweak some things on how he plays football, but also like he's a human. Like stop with this narrative that he's a terrible person.
Yeah, no, I mean, his coaches know who he is. The only people who know who he is are behind the curtain, but it didn't look good.
No, it did look good. Yeah, he deserves a suspension.
The fact that his forearms were down, I think that was the issue. He could have easily avoided it, in my opinion, but his forearm was out. I think that's why he's getting some hate. But again, you cannot equate. It's no different to us when we were hating last year on the guy who was slid into, was it Kamara's inbox talking about like, yeah, you're on my team, you better produce. Like, don't talk to these guys, okay?
Yeah.
They're professional athletes. All right. Like if you want to tweet. Okay. If you want to talk, but don't inbox these guys. Don't try to get a hold of them. Don't throw trash at them while they're walking off the field.
Right.
That's not okay. All right. Yeah. These guys are they're professionals. There's a line. There's a hard line somewhere.
I don't think there's any intent for any NFL player to hurt another.
No.
I'm sure there's been some instances like like in the past. I don't think there is. I don't think there was intent to actually hurt Trevor Lawrence.
Let's say there was intent in terms of, I think there can be intent in terms of like, which I agree with as a fan. When you see a quarterback running consistently, or they're calling in this case, a quarterback draw, I think there is intent on the defense to say, hey, we're going to punish this guy. We got to hit him.
Yeah.
We got to hit him hard.
Yes.
But it's not to injure him. Right.
Not to concuss him.
When you watch Jalen Hurts,
right.
When you watch Jalen Hurts time after time take off, it's like, dude, we're going to hit you. We're going to hit you and we're going to send a message. But it's not football. To take him out of the game.
Right.
Right. And I think that's where fans are getting confused. Like, they see this hit. He's probably watching Trevor Lawrence take off. Like, dude, you're not running on me. Yeah. Like, if he had intent, it was, yeah, I'm going to hit him. I'm going to hit him hard. And unfortunately, in this scenario, Trevor Lawrence slid. You got to be able to avoid it. That's the rules. Was there intent to give him a concussion and to possibly lead to surgery? No. Was there an intent to say, like, hey, dude, I'm going to get this guy. Like, I got to punish him for running? Yes. But any defense is going to do that. Any defense, after watching a guy scramble over and over, is going to do that.
And most of us have never played in the NFL, right? Probably any listener to this podcast has never played in the NFL. Those guys go at full speed. We don't even know what that full speed is. No. Like, I played football in college, or not college, high school. And it was still fast. Like, you have to adjust like a split second. Even that is hard, right? And so when Trevor Lawrence is doing his thing, like that, it's a lot faster on the field than it looks on TV to all of us, right? Yeah. And so give the guy some grace. Again, I'm soapbox, but like I'll get off of it. But give the guy some grace, right? Like he's to hurt Trevor Lawrence.
I disagree with Tom Brady in the premise of like, I thought right from the get-go this needed to be a suspension. Like 100%, this has to be a suspension. But on the premise of, should Trevor Lawrence slide and not fight for that extra yard? Yes. Yeah, just slide. If that's what we're doing, then just slide. Right? Yeah. Just slide. But I thought the suspension was super necessary.
100%.
It's a bummer for him, and the suspension was upheld, by the way. So, justice. Of course,
the NFL doesn't want that.
And that's it. He's suspended. Right?
And it is what it is.
Teammates.
He knows.
That's punishment plenty. Punishment plenty.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about lifetime bans, by the way. It's ridiculous. All right. Moving right along, the playoff picture, Big Z. We got to talk about it because we're almost there. We've got a few more weeks. This is why me and Big Z like baseball, because baseball does not abandon us after a mere. I mean, we just got back. We just got back. Big Z.
Seriously, it's gone by so fast, man. It's so sad. I mean, we got fantasy playoffs next week. Come on,
it's
man.
crazy,
What's going on, man?
It's crazy. We've been here for like 3 months, and it's already going. It's already gone. So in the AFC, okay, you got Kansas City. They're locked in. Buffalo Bills. They're locked in. Right, followed by the Steelers, the Texans, and then you got your wild cards: the Chargers, Ravens, and Broncos. 8-4, 8-5, 8-5. Indianapolis, and then Miami, and then the Bengals. 6-7, 5-7, 4-8. I'm not gonna lie to you, to Big Z. unless something catastrophic happens, I think this one's pretty much locked up.
This
I
is definitely, yeah. The Colts aren't doing anything.
I don't
Dolphins
think
aren't doing
so.
anything.
Nope.
It's over. The AFC is pretty much set, and like the seeding could be differently, but those 7 teams are
Yep.
set. I
Yep.
think.
Even
Yeah.
even if the Chargers lose, right? Let's say they lose their next game. If they're 8-8, I mean, I don't know if I
Yeah.
see the Colts or the Dolphins getting to 8-8.
No, I don't.
Right?
I
Like
don't.
that, they can only lose one more game. I
Yeah.
don't see that in their future. So even if the Chargers lost out, as sad as that is, I think they're still in. Like, so that's the picture over in the AFC. The NFC, though, is much more wide open. The only team who's absolutely clinched is the Lions.
Yes,
That's
sir.
it. The
And
Eagles,
the Eagles, they'll clinch probably if they win this week. I'm guessing that's a clinch.
100%. And
Yeah.
they will clinch. But
Yeah.
they're 10-2. They're going to make it, right?
Yep.
The Seahawks 7-5. The Falcons 6-6. And then, of course, you have Vikings, Green Bay, and the Manders. The Vikings are 10-2. They're going to make it. Again, they're in basically at this point. Green Bay at 9-4. We're assuming they're making it in for the most part. And the Manders at 8-5. But there are a few teams that can make it in, if nothing else, because the AFC West or the NFC West, right? The Seahawks are 7-5. But the Cardinals and the Rams are both 6-6. Niners bringing up the rear at 5-7. I think that division's still wide open.
I think so too. You talk about the Niners specifically. They have the Bears, but then they have the Rams, and then they have the Cardinals again. So a lot of opportunities, both sides really, to do some damage to each other. So the NFC West is definitely wide open. A lot of people are saying it's kind of wrapped up with the Seahawks, but I don't think so.
No
I
way.
think
No.
I don't think the Seahawks finish it off. I'm not saying the Niners get there, but I don't think the Seahawks finish it off. And what's also wide open is the NFC South, the Falcons and the Bucks.
Yeah.
Falcons and the Bucks are tied 6-6. The only reason why the Falcons are ahead is because they won both games over the Bucks head to head. And so that's huge. But the Falcons, there's definitely a world where the Falcons have a worse record from here on out than the Buccaneers. So we will see. I don't know what the schedules are like, but
the
it's
Falcons got the Vikings, the Raiders, the Giants, the Manders, and the Panthers. And keep in mind, Panthers are playing good football right now.
right.
The Manders are obviously the Manders. The Giants have still, they're figuring out some things, but they have a good defense. The Raiders, you got to win that game. And the Vikings, probably a loss for them. So,
yeah. And we got,
that's.
and Bucks got Raiders next, at Chargers. So that'd be tough. Out at Cowboys, that should be a win. Versus Panthers, they took them to overtime this last week, and then the Saints. So that's both teams have a.
They got a shot.
It's gonna be tough for both teams, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
I love it. I love when it comes down to the wire. You know what I mean? I can't wait. I can't wait to watch the Manders. I can't wait to watch his rookie quarterbacks go on the playoffs. I love it. I love it. I love it. We'll keep you posted. Tampa Bay Bucks. Rooting for you. I love the Baker Mayfield story. I'm not going to lie. Of course, I'm rooting for my Rams, but Baker, that's dope. That's an awesome, awesome story.
That's dope, bro.
Moving right along. Fantasy football. I made a terrible call last week. I said Justin Herbert was going to ball. In my defense, I didn't know that the Chargers offense was completely reliant on J.K. Dobbins. And I honestly, it should have been more obvious because J.K. Dobbins had a couple down weeks and the Chargers had a couple down weeks.
Right.
But the weeks that J.K. Dobbins has good weeks, they look fantastic. So
right.
The writing was on the wall. I missed it. I apologize. Justin Herbert did not have a great week. In fact, he had a bad week. Big Z, did you make the right call?
I did. Bucky Irving, bro. I called it. The dude is the number one again.
Absolutely.
In Tampa Bay. He had 28 points. I think I said he was going to get 25 plus points. He had 28 carries, 153 total yards, a touchdown. He left the game. I was like, oh my gosh, he had a hip injury. He came back and he just demolished the Panthers defense. So I was pretty stoked about that. Definitely helped me out in my league. So I would say this guy, like, you got to keep rolling with this guy if you have him for the rest of the season, for sure.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. He just looks explosive, man.
Who's your guy this week? Who's your boy? Who are you going with? Who are you riding with?
There's a few guys. I'm going with Brock Bowers against the Bucks. Brock Bowers, not a lot of people are talking about him because he's on the Raiders. But he has a special place in my heart because he is on one of my teams, my dynasty teams.
Oof.
And so he gave me 32 points last week against the Chiefs. That's a really good defense with Aiden O'Connell thrown to him. He's definitely Aiden O'Connell's favorite target. The Bucs defense is definitely worse than the Chiefs defense. So obviously Brock Bowers is a must start regardless of format, regardless of team or opponent that he's playing. But play him again. Don't even think about it. That's just an easy start. I think you can have a great week.
100%. 100%. I like it. I got my boy JSN.
Nice.
I think the Seahawks, as they make a push, this has got to be your weapon. I think DK Metcalf, I don't think he's at 100%. I think it was obvious the way he left the field. He couldn't even walk off. He did come back in and make some catches. But I think you really need to get this guy going. Kenneth Walker, for whatever reason, it looks like him and Geno are just not on the same page this season as much. So I think JSN is your key. You look at the games they've dominated, JSN has been that dude. And again, they didn't dominate this last week, right? They had to cover behind. Just so happens this is the worst week JSN has had in a while, right? Last couple weeks they win handedly. JSN does great. This week they didn't get to JSN nearly as much. They didn't look nearly as good. I think the offense got to flow through him. Who would let you down? I nailed this one. I said the Bucs DST. I know if you're like me, I told you last week it seemed like a weird pick, but if you like to stream defenses, this seemed like the obvious pick, and I warned you. I said, listen, Panthers are probably going to give the Bucs all they can handle. They're playing a different brand of football. Bryce Young looks like the dude that they picked him to be last year.
Yep.
And I was right. Bucs defense did not score you a whole lot of points. Big Z. Who did you say was going to let the people down?
Breece Hall. And boy, did he let a lot of people down. He only got 6 points. Again, dumpster fire Jets. Just do not start a Jet. Actually, I played against Davante Adams. He got 15 points. But other than that, don't start any Jets. Breece Hall just doesn't look good. I would rather start Brendan Allen, his backup, instead of Breece Hall. Unless they change quarterbacks, stay away from any Jets. But yeah, I would not start him going forward this whole year.
100%. 100%. I mean, that's a great pick. Breece, you almost got to see it at this point. You almost got to see it, especially with the injury tag still lingering. This week still lingering.
Right.
If you have another option, it's probably time, especially like a Bucky Irving. I know it hurts. I know it hurts to start a Chase Brown or Bucky Irving because these were not guys that were highly drafted, but it's time. These guys are automatic starters. Brian Robinson. There's not a world in which Breece Hall should be in over Brian Robinson. Any of these guys. Get these guys in over Breece Hall. They have the upside. They're doing it all, especially in Brian Robinson's case with Austin Eckler down. Yep. He's an easy start. My guy to watch out for this week, Big Z, Ken Walker. He's going back to play the Cardinals. You look at what he did last time they played the Cardinals. He had 90 yards of total offense. They keep pulling him off the field for whatever reason. Every time they get inside the red zone for Charbonnet, and Charbonnet, by the way, does not look good. So I really don't know what the Seahawks are doing. It's pretty inexplicable. But again, I'm just saying to watch out for this. If you have somebody in that flex, it's maybe a better option. You have Bucky, you have Chase Brown, you name that running back. You have these guys who've solidified or shown you should be a little bit more hesitant this week with Kenneth Walker, Big Z.
I 100% agree with you. He just doesn't look as explosive as he was. He's always been injury prone, really. Always has good first halves of the season, and then he kind of falls off. And again, same story this year. I would definitely stay away from him. Don't start him. If you have him, especially in your league format, if it's a PPR, half PPR format, and he's in your flex, see if you have a better receiver, someone who can get you some extra points off of the catch. Just because, he's just not looking good. In addition to Breece Hall, I would stay away, from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins just does not look good right now. He had 4 interceptions last week against the Chargers. The Chargers are a good defense, but he was at home. Just when he throws, he looks like he's in slow motion. I know he's going to go play his former team, the Vikings, but it is in Minnesota, and the Vikings have a great defense. And so if you have an extra quarterback behind him, I would probably start that quarterback instead of Kirk.
He does not look the same at all. Looks like he's completely on different pages with his receivers, with Pitts. Yeah. For 1 second, it looked like he was cooking. Pitts was cooking. London was cooking. And now it does not look good. Stay away from him. College, football rankings. Oh man, dude, college football is so much fun to watch. I will say, I found it interesting that Georgia's quarterback has already declared for the draft, and they came out this week with some really, really funny comments about, I don't like to watch football. That was interesting to me, Big Z. That was, if I'm a franchise, and I'm like, guys, is this the guy we want? Is this real? Like, he just openly said he doesn't like to watch football because it makes him nervous. And Big Z, it stresses him out. Okay. So we got to respect that.
Well, maybe he was talking about his team, like, as you know, he's a fan of a team. I don't doubt he's talking about film and
no,
like,
he watches film. He said he went back and he watched film, but he's like, I don't like. The reporter asked him, what did you think of your last week's game? Like, the last time you played Texas and you guys lost, like, what did you think? It's like, I didn't watch the film, I didn't watch the game. I actually don't like watching football. I was like, wait, what? And then later on, he kind of corrected. He's like, I do watch film. Like, I've gone back and I've watched the film now. So, there's some hope there. I just thought it was kind of funny. I was like, wow,
it's funny. It is funny. It's ironic. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But here it is, top 12. If you haven't heard it yet, Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, SMU, Indiana, Boise State, Alabama, and Miami. But that 12 seed will not sit there long because whoever wins between Arizona State and Iowa State will get the automatic bid. Both those teams are 10-2. They will be the Big 12 champion, and they will be the 12th seed. So foreseeably, Miami's out. They're probably not going to make the playoff. They are going to get bumped out. But everybody else on the list, Big Z, what's our immediate reactions?
My immediate reaction all week, I've been hearing people talk about Alabama, how they don't deserve to be in. And yeah, they don't. They probably don't deserve to be in just based off the resume, the record, 9-3, losing to Vanderbilt. But all the whining I'm hearing from Miami fans and Clemson fans, y'all did it to yourselves.
Right?
You should have won your games last week. If you're Miami, you should have beat Syracuse. What are you talking about? Like, you know the committee is going to pick Alabama. If you're going to lose that week, they're going to pick Alabama over you because it's Alabama. They're choosing, as a Big 12 commissioner said, they're choosing logos over resumes. Every single person knows that. Go onto the field and take care of your business. If you take care of your business, you don't have to worry about it. I don't like when people start complaining after they lost a game when they had a chance to clinch their spot in the football playoff. I hate when people are like, well, they're choosing Alabama because it's Alabama. Of course they're going to choose Alabama. You know that. Same thing with Clemson. You should have beat South Carolina. You should have, but you didn't. You didn't take care of your own business on your home field, and now you got to pay for it. So stop complaining. It is what it is. Learn your lesson and do it next year. Take care of your own business.
100%. And if there is a team that is not happy about it, you're talking about South Carolina. I mean, South Carolina, the problem is, again, you already lost to Bama. Right. Of course, exactly. If this committee wants to put Bama in there and they see that you already lost to Bama, they're just not going to allow it. Ole Miss fans complaining they lost to Kentucky. You can't lose to Kentucky. And most recently, they just lost to Florida. There's two unranked losses. You can't have it. So if you're trying to keep Alabama out, you knew they wanted to put them in. Big Z and I are not surprised. Are we happy about it? No. But are we surprised? No.
But we know.
Yeah, they're gonna put them in. If listen, for the foreseeable future, unless something goes horribly awry for these colleges, if Texas can be in, they're going to be in. If Ohio State can be in, they're going to be in. If Oregon can be in, they're going to be in. If Georgia can be in, they're going to be in. If Alabama can be in, they're going to be in. That's how this works. There's 5 teams, 6 teams, and if they can be in, they're 100% going to be in. It's not going to change, Big Z.
It's not. Take care of your business. They wouldn't have been in if you had won.
Yep.
If one of those teams
and Miami would be playing for a championship game this next weekend.
Exactly.
Miami has a chance even to move up beyond that. Shout out to Boise State, by the way, real quick. Gentry. Hey, keep it going, buddy. We're all rooting for you. Honestly, I would love to see Boise State win the national championship.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be so just cool. Absolutely incredible. Would be so cool.
We'll see this week. The committee has stated that they will not let the championship week sway their decision making for the last rankings. I don't know really if that's true or not, because there are some big games still yet to be decided, and some conferences yet to be decided between ranked teams. And so I really want to see if Alabama actually does get in. or if they change their mind. So it will be interesting just based off of what results we see starting tomorrow night.
I hate to say it, but yes, I think I respect them at least saying they're not going to let it impact them. But if you're Boise State, don't lose this next game. If you're Boise State, don't lose your championship game. Don't do it. Don't
Right.
do it.
Again, take care of your business.
They can say that all they want. It means nothing to you, Boise State. Go handle your business.
Yep.
Because if they can get you out, they will. All right.
Yep.
I mean, and you already know. I mean, really, you got Georgia playing Texas. Neither of those teams is going anywhere. Both those teams, they might drop Georgia down to like 11 just to prove a point, but they're not going anywhere. So Penn State again playing Oregon. Neither of those teams is going anywhere.
No.
They're not going anywhere. Those teams are going to be in. So just keep it in mind. And then of course Notre Dame doesn't have to play. So, congrats
Right.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, you made it.
MLB wrapping it up. Big Z, the A's go out. Big spender, $67 million, largest contract I'm told ever by our very own Big Z. Ever.
Luis Severino gets a 3-year, $67 million contract to play in a AAA ballpark in Sacramento for the next 2 years while they build their new stadium in Las Vegas. But you know what? Shout out to the A's. Like, I can't hate on it. Like, shout out to the A's for actually going out and signing, a decent pitcher, right? And actually spending money. They said they wanted to get their payroll up this offseason. They want to make sure like they get their new fans in Las Vegas going, rooting for them. And so shout out to them. They have a good young team. Like, I'm not going to lie. They have a really good offensive side of the ball. They needed to solidify their pitching staff. That's a huge weakness on their team. Because they have really good young bats. And so this year, do not be surprised if they make a wild card push. Do not be surprised. You heard it here first in December 2024.
Post that on our Instagram. That was fuego. My boy is calling his shot early. I love it, dude. I love the A's. I really hope they keep being just a great organization. I mean, you got to spend some money, and they did. So good. Keep spending money.
Yes,
keep on spending money. So do the Drama King himself is expected to announce either tonight or tomorrow. And I hope, for the love of God, it's not the Dodgers. F1, Verstappen gets another W. He already clinched the championship in F1. Wow. He already clinched it, but he got another W. Just icing on the cake.
Dude. He's the GOAT. Is he the GOAT of F1?
No, not yet. Not yet. So they've had some really dominant, like Schumacher, Hamilton. Like, these guys have done it for a long, long time. But I will say Verstappen is on his way, because one of the arguments or one of the knocks on a guy like Hamilton is when Hamilton was winning, Mercedes had the best car. And this year, Red Bull did not have the best car. Nowhere near the best car. The Ferrari and the McLaren are quicker, and Verstappen is still finding ways to win races because he's just driving perfectly. So he is quickly entering. Even it was actually really funny. One of the other heads of McLaren, forget his name, but he literally came out today. He had sort of funny comments about Verstappen earlier this year, talking about, if we had the fastest car, we could win too. Verstappen can't win without the fastest car. And he's completely done a 180 on that and talked about how Verstappen is quickly approaching one of the greatest drivers of all time. He's racing nearly perfect, and you're seeing it. I mean, his partner, this is why they're not competing for constructors, because the other guy in the car, Sergio Perez, can't win them any points, which is why McLaren and Ferrari are actually sitting on 1 and 2 for the constructors. Those who don't watch, there's 2 drivers for every team. So the championship is for the one driver. The constructor is for the team. And although Max Verstappen is with Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari are actually winning the constructors because Max's teammate is not holding up his end of the bargain. Shout outs to McLaren and Ferrari. Love to see it. They got some great teams there coming down to the wire. Big Z. This has been fun. Say bye to the people.
People, it was a blast tonight. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys are enjoying our videos. We put a little poll up there today on the Instagram, on the X, on the YouTube. Go check it out. We love the comments. We love the commentary. The answer to the question, Troy Polamalu or Ed Reed, a commenter on the YouTube said Brian Dawkins.
Boom.
No questions asked. And I was like, oh, awesome. Love it. Thank you for educating us, Eagles fan. But we love you guys. Keep at it. You guys are the best.
Wait for my boy Steven to comment and say John Lynch. That's his boy right there. We love you.
There we go.
Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for following. Tell your friends, tell your family. We are Brevity Sports. Big Z's going to be here the best of the year with his fire takes. You heard it here first, Bengals fans. You need a defense. Joe Burrow is the truth. Follow him to the